Hello, welcome back to Mark's Garden UK. I'm Mark. This is Rose Cottage. That's my parterre, and this is my new white garden. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I had a complete disaster last year with my blue Agapanthus. I also had a bit of a problem with my beautiful Hydrangea Annabelles. The blue Agapanthus, I lost every single one of them. I had 12 in pots. Some of them were the hardy variety and some of them weren't, but it turns out that they all perished in that really cold winter that we had last year. So I decided to take a different approach. I will never make the same mistake again. I've done a video on Agapanthus winter care, which I'll link to at the end of this one, but I've replaced the blue ones with white Agapanthus. These are the white ones here, one on the left there and one on the far end on the right. I've also got some smaller Agapanthus in pots here down at the front, so they will all come up with lovely spherical white blooms. The thing with Agapanthus is they like to be cozy in their pots. They don't want to be too pot bound, but they do like to be well drained in the sun and cozy. So these ones here in these pots, I've got quite a lot of soil around the roots, so they're probably not going to flower too well this year, but hopefully next year, when they've grown into their surroundings, they'll flower even better. These ones here, at the extremity of this white garden, are still in the original pots that they came in. So if I bring one a bit closer to the camera, you can see that you've got a lot of plant in a small pot there. And that's why that's already pushing out lovely big blooms. So we'll have some lovely flowers on those Agapanthus this year. I am going to put these into these pots. I'm going to enjoy those flowers first. But these two, there's going to be two in each pot, so that will make it cosy from the start. So two nice big white Agapanthus at either end there. Now turning to the hydrangeas, these are Hydrangea Annabelle. I've got 3 in pots here. And they're lovely, they're beautiful. They produce these beautiful sort of whitish, greenish, lemony coloured blooms. But they're not very strong and they do suffer from wind damage. And last year, actually, ironically, on my mum's birthday, I went to Wales to see my mum. My mum bought me those hydrangeas, and when I got back, they'd all blown over and broken. So I've taken a different approach this year. I've given them all homemade supports. I've done a video on how I did that, so you can watch that on my channel. So this year they're supported nicely, and that support helps them in this hot weather because they've got quite a lot of surface area on the leaves, so they do transpire quite a lot of water, so it's quite difficult for them to stay hydrated. So just by giving them a little bit of support, it'll stop them from drooping through hydration, and also it'll stop them from breaking in the wind. I've also tucked them back against the wall, which will prevent them from being in the main part of the passing wind through here. Here I have 2 pots of lovely white lilies, and they are just producing flower heads at the top. I've bought those. I've not planted them out yet, but they do need planting. That's very light, so I can tell that's actually quite hydrated. I might plunge them today and give them a really good soaking. So they need a good watering. So there's some white lilies at the front. And in the urns here, we have Surfinia. Beautiful white trumpet-shaped flowers, which will grow. These are kind of like bedding plants, and they will just grow and tumble down here. So as people walk past, and from this perspective, we'll look back, and there'll be like a theatre of white, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I will not be making the same mistake with my Agapanthus again. They will be going inside, every single one of them, for the winter next year. I'm not risking losing them to the cold frost. The hydrangeas, they're nicely protected. So, and as you can see, this centre one's already got some lovely blooms on. The reason why that's got blooms on and these 2 haven't is I did some cuttings, and I took the cuttings off those 2 and I didn't take them off that one. So you can see the effect of taking cuttings has removed some of the flowering buds from the top. So there we are, a bit of an update on my parterre and white garden. White gardens are something that people always used to talk about a few years ago, and possibly they've even fallen out of fashion, I don't know, but I quite like the idea of creating a bit of a white garden this year. So there we are, my white garden at Rose Cottage. Incidentally, Rose Cottage, for those of you that are interested in timber framed structures, because I know that there's quite a few viewers in the States and several of you have commented, this property is 450 years old. Imagine that, imagine how many people have come through this property, how many lifetimes. And it's basically a timber frame, great big timber frame here, which is infilled with bricks. And the roof is made out of thatch. It's a thatched roof, so it's made out of reeds. And it's laid on, compacted on the top there. And the thatch roof is an old style of roofing. It has to be replaced every 30 years. That one is just under 15 years old, so in 15 years time I'll have to have a new roof on my house. But when I bought the house, I put the money on one side to do it, so I don't need to worry too much about it. But it's a real skill and it's a dying trade, thatching houses. So the benefit of the thatch is it insulates the property from the heat in the summertime, and it keeps it warm in the winter time. That's the theory anyway. Anyway, a little bit of history on Rose Cottage and a bit of an insight into my white garden at the front. Incidentally, if you're interested in parterres and box planting and boxwood, I've just done a little video on box blight because it's one of the fears I have. I was discouraged by several people from using box when I planted the parterre, but because of box blight and because of box tree caterpillar. But I wanted it, and I was prepared to take the risk. So now I'm always on the lookout for blight and box tree caterpillar, and you have to be on the lookout for it, because I went to a garden in Torquay a few weeks ago and they'd had an attack of box tree caterpillar and it decimated the whole thing. Fortunately, I've been okay so far. Hope you found that interesting. I'll see you soon for some more white garden, parterre, thatched cottage adventures. Bye for now.